Hello, everyone. In case you didn't know, he was just kidding. He wasn't gonna end the war in 24 hours, silly. It was just a joke where a bunch of people died. Then why, you fucktarded piece of orange shit, you promised it again and again and again and again and again. I don't know about you all, but I have parents in Ukraine. I have friends in Ukraine. I have a family member who is currently a POW in Russian custody. And I don't think this is funny. And I'm sure neither do people who are currently in Ukraine. Meanwhile, we have a whole bunch of news and it's a complete mess. It has come to light that an American citizen who was fighting on the Russian side was killed last year. And not only was he a U.S. citizen, he was son of CIA deputy director. His name was Michael Alexander Gloss. He was 21 years old. And he was the son of Juliana Galina, who was appointed as CIA deputy director last year. Yeah, and I know a lot of you are going to say, ooh, Biden, DI hire, appointed CIA deputy director whose son was fighting in Russia against Ukraine. Yep, that happened. And yes, that is on Biden administration, as is the appointment of Pete Hegseth is on the Trump administration. And you all know what happened there. So, just as long as we're fair. And yes, I'm sure now this woman will have a lot of very tough questions to answer, because I agree with The Guardian here. How is it that the son of a top-ranking U.S. spy and top-ranking CIA official ended up fighting for Putin, being used as cannon fodder? How the heck is that going to happen? So, I'm sure there's lots of different pieces of information about this floating around. I'm treating this as a developing story because I want to know too, because this begs the question, do we have anybody else like that out there? Because I really want to know, because that is a problem. Right now we have over 1,500 foreign nationals who signed contracts with the Russian military. A legal binding document to get paid to go murder Ukrainian civilians. What the heck is going with the peace negotiations? It is a complete clusterfuck, folks. That's the best word I have to describe it. So, we have multiple meetings. Witkoff went to Moscow to meet with Putin. Putin can't come to the Pope's funeral because Italy and the Vatican honor the International Criminal Courts, and he would be arrested there for the abduction of Ukrainian children. Meanwhile, Trump met with Zelensky in Rome to talk about this as well. What we're getting right now is this. If we were to break this down into three very broad pieces. Number one, Trump is trying to convince everybody, including his own administration and American people, that it's almost a done deal. That it's almost done. We're ready to sign, Just pull out your little pens and sign right here on the dotted line. That most of the major points are agreed upon. Meanwhile, Ukraine and European allies are saying, no, it isn't. What you talking about? No, we're not even close, because the interests of the two sides involved are diametrically opposed to one another. There's a big article in Reuters, I know, paywall, it annoys me too, but this is important. So there's apparently two sets of documents talking about this, and there's no clear understanding when Trump is referring to the peace agreement, which one he's referring to. The two sets of proposals. One was authored by the US with a huge influence from Russia. The other one was authored by the European allies and Ukraine. And the differences, the discrepancies between the two sets of agreements are dramatic. Because one of them recognizes Russia's control of Crimea, and the other one does not. So that's a bit of a difference. Ukraine made it very clear, we're not ceding any territory to Russia because that is going to be a problem for everybody. And I'm kind of certain that Russia controlling Crimea is not something that feels warm and fuzzy to Turkey, because I don't think they want to have Russia as their next door neighbor across the Black Sea. And Turkey, may I remind you, is a NATO member. Meanwhile, the war continues, and again, this is so typical. So Russia now says that they have completely reclaimed the Kursk region, where Ukrainian troops have been hanging out for, well, a really long time, since August of last year. Ukraine says, no, you didn't. Fighting still continues. There is a good detailed breakdown in Associated Press reminding everybody on how that particular thing unfolded. And again, the fact that Russians have been unable to dislodge Ukrainians out of there since August is suggestive. Also, that was the area where we have seen the most North Korean troops. So while that's going on, this was when Trump and Zelensky met. That should be interesting. I mean, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall to see what went on there. The good news was Trump was without his pet cockroach, J.D. Vance. So he didn't have anybody to help him bully Zelensky into agreeing to something that is not advantageous to him. Meanwhile, the war still continues. That's another thing. You would think if you were seriously negotiating peace, you would at least stop killing civilians. They have not, and that should be all the indication you need. So 3 people were killed overnight in the course of multiple attacks. 2 died in Yarova. This is in the eastern Donetsk region. Another person died in the Dnipropetrovsk region. 6 people were injured, including an 88-year-old woman and an 11-year-old girl. Yeah, that sounds real peaceful. Russia launched 3 missiles and 114 drones at Ukraine. 66 drones were destroyed and 31 decoys failed to reach their destination. So the war is still going on. People are still getting killed. So why would anybody take Russia seriously? And then there is this. And this I can vouch for. This is something my parents struggle with. When you're getting bombed every single day, day and night, you can't sleep. My parents both struggle with this. Basically, they're snatching like little cat naps through the course of the day in between air raids. And yes, they are on antidepressants, as are millions of Ukrainians. Explain to me again why we should negotiate with people who are doing this to civilians. Explain to me.